What's up, everybody? This is Johnny Ferrari in Las Vegas, and you're listening to the Swerve Talk Network featuring Max Wrestling, Sunday Sag, Offshoot Radio, and more at the Swerve Talk Network on Twitter for more information. Woohoo!
World, look into my eyes. When you see me on a show, when you see these fans, you know you've got the best in the damn world.
This is the Wrestling Matters podcast where we stand up for professional wrestling.
Here we fucking go!
Well, enough is enough, and it's time for a change.
Professional wrestling! This is it! This is us standing up! Yes! 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 Yes!
That's 13-14!
Cena, I am the best in the world.
Cause that's the bottom line. Cause Stone Cold Simpson.
What's happening, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Anthony Walker, and you know what time it is. It's time for another episode of the Wrestling Matters podcast. How are we all doing? Hope you guys are well. Hope you guys are having a good week. I'm having a wet week right now because where I'm living right now, it is totally raining. And it's been raining all week. So I hope you guys enjoyed the wrestling this week. Very interesting wrestling this week. Very interesting. On today's show, I will talk Raw. I will talk Smackdown, TNA, Ring of Honor, and I'll mention ICW. I won't talk about ICW. I'll mention ICW because I'll mention it as like a little promotion thing because I want to make way for the number one topic that I'm going to be talking about on this podcast today, and that is Talking Smack. What happened on Talking Smack this past week involving The Miz and Daniel Bryan. So that will be to come. Like I say, I'll talk NXT as well. Shot in NXT in there as well, as I usually do on this podcast. And a little top 10 from What Culture, which I found very, very interesting. Probably the most interesting one they've done in a while, at least. Not saying that they're not interesting, but oh boy. It is the top 10 missed chances of turning John Cena heel. Yes, you heard me. Unbelievable. You're going to check it. I'll check it out. I'll run through the countdown later on in the podcast, so stay tuned for that. Also, ladies and gents, you can check out the Wrestling Matters podcast each and every week on the Swerve Talk Network with Daz and Co. on the Max Wrestling, Sunday Segway, Offshoot Radio. Check all that goodness out as well, and also check out Evan McCaber as well, even though he's not doing it no more, which is a shame. But be sure to check that guy out as well, because he's a good guy. There's no doubt about it. Now, also, you can check it on soundcloud.com/wrestling_matters_podcast and download it for free. Check it out on the YouTube channel as well and subscribe. Also, check out Mystery Island. Now, I promised last week that I would have some new information about Mystery Island, and I do. Thanks to David Anderson, who will be coming on the show soon. I don't know when. It's just a case of getting them on. But I've invited Mystery Island to come on the show very, very soon. Be sure to check out their podcast as well. More on Mystery Island in a minute. But September 3rd at Mystery Island. September 3rd at Mystery Island. 56 to 58 Birkenhead, Oxton Road. 56 to 58 Oxton Road in Birkenhead is what I meant to say. I apologise for that. Be sure to go get yourself down there because Wes Brisco will be there. Wes Brisco, Aces and Eights member from TNA. So he'll be there getting some new, some autographs and signing some merchandise as well. And also, there's some new stuff as well. Update as well on the Briscoe thing. The Briscoe signing. It is now, if you buy a VIP, you could win tickets to our first Wrestle Island show in November as well. So apparently, they're doing their own promotion as well. Wrestle Island, it's called. So if you buy a VIP to this autograph signing, you could be in line to win tickets to the Wrestle Island show in November. So check that out. Be sure to check it all out. Facebook.com/Back to the Island. All the information will be in the description below on YouTube or SoundCloud or even the Swerve Talk Network. Get yourself over there as well. Also, you can listen to the podcast on occasions on Spreaker.com. So be sure to check that out as well. And that is also where you can listen to the Mystery Island podcast too. But like I say, guys, get yourself over there and check it all out. Also, Progress Wrestling. I got this the other day from Bingus. Shout out to you, sir, as well. He's been on the podcast before, and I'm just looking for it now just to check it out. If I can find it. It is saved. It's to promote the upcoming event. There's an upcoming event for Progress. Hang on, I'll go to. Bear with me here, guys. I'll get there. Oh, good grief! I had it a minute ago and then I've lost it. It's to promote. It's to promote. It's to promote Progress. Like I say, Progress Wrestling. And if you don't know what Progress Wrestling is, you obviously don't know professional wrestling. It is a UK-based promotion as well. Actually, I did have it on my what I call it because he tagged me in as well. Bear with me, guys. Bear with me. I will be sorting this out. My bad. As well, like I said, it's to promote Progress. There we go. I knew I'd get it eventually. Get Brixton After Park tickets at this link. Now, let me just get to the promotion side of it. It is the Progress Wrestling After Party, presented by Squeak Event. Tickets are £6 in advance, £10 on the door, with special guest DJ. Location, Dogstar Brixton. Doors open from 8:30 to 2 a.m. For more information, and I'll put the link in the description as well, go to squeakevents.co.uk/progress-Brixton. So be sure to check that out as well. Now, I haven't got anything to talk about in this part, because I've been saving up for to make room, because I'm going to talk about what happened on Talking Smack this past week in depth. So look out for that. I'll see if there's anything worth talking about on the websites and everything, see if there's any news. Also, guys, if you watch the SummerSlam pay-per-view, probably having the match of the year candidate, which was John Cena and AJ Styles, there was a lot of talk about whether or not that the ending of the Brock Lesnar match with Randy Orton happened, because, as we all know, Lesnar split his head open with an elbow, started beating him up, and got a TKO win. That was planned, ladies and gentlemen. That was the planned finish. Why it was the planned finish, I don't know. But it seemed to be the planned finish. So, yeah. So, we've got... what we got here? Ricochet comments on a possible WWE one. Apparently Goldberg coming back is not up to him. Right. Heath Slater, if you see, I'll talk about this more later on. Heath Slater and Rhino are currently scheduled to face a mystery tag team on this coming SmackDown's Tuesday edition. As it turns out, the opposing team might not long be a mystery, because I've got it on this website, nodq.com. Spoiler alert, I believe they're going to be facing a well-known tag team from the 1998, the Attitude Era, former tag team champions. They beat the British Bulldog and Owen Hart for the belts. And you know what? I'm not going to spoil it for you. Tune in to SmackDown this week, and you'll see for yourself. I think you'd be pleasantly surprised and a little shocked too, because I cannot wait to see if it happens. Obviously, I don't believe spoilers. I read spoilers in a way, guys, because sometimes it can attract me to watch that show. I might not go, oh yeah, show, yeah, whatever, kind of thing. But when you see the spoilers and you see what's going down in that show, you're like, okay, I'm in. I want to know what's going on. You know, I want to know what's up as well. Oh, and a little message as well to everybody as well. Max Wrestling, Offshoot Radio, and everybody else. Thank you for the birthday wishes. It is much appreciated. I got Daz coming on my Facebook page saying, "Happy birthday, dude." Typical Daz, really. But I appreciate it, Daz. I very much appreciate it as well. And a big shout out as well, guys, to Talk Brunch. Now, I've been listening to their podcast. I'm halfway through at the moment because it can be a little chaotic on that show. And it's a 4-hour podcast. But they've got another one coming up this Monday, so be sure to check that out. They're also on SoundCloud as well. I'll leave their links in the description below. And I'll be working with Rick, who hosts the show as well very soon. So hopefully we can get something sorted out. And yeah, it's a chaotic show, but it's a good show. And it's a fun show. It sounds fun anyway. So hopefully I'll be able to get on that podcast. Hopefully I can get them on here too. And hopefully we can work together. I'm looking forward to it as well. And yeah, you need to go and check that out as well. It is Talk Brunch. And I'll leave the link in the description below. And I'll leave the link to their SoundCloud. It is soundcloud.com/talkbrunch. Go on there and check it out. And follow them as well if you're into that kind of stuff. Now, guys, I'm going to end this part here. Apologies for it being short, but I want to talk about what happened on Talking Smack, which I will do later on in depth. So I want to leave as much room as I can for that. You'll get Ring of Honor, you'll get NXT, you'll get Impact Wrestling. I'll just go through the results on that. And a bit of a mention as well with ICW as well. Speaking of ICW, before I go to break, go and check out their on-demand service as well. They've been doing the Asylum. There's an Asylum event which shows their up-and-coming talent. It's kind of like an NXT kind of show, an NXT kind of promotion. It's all ICW production. It's all ICW and all that, but it's like a platform to give their up-and-coming talent that they've got on their roster a chance. Excuse me. So, yeah, go and check that out. It's on their ICW on-demand service. For more information, go to insanewrestling.co.uk. Now, I'll leave it there, guys. I'll go to the break, and I'll be back right after this with Raw Smackdown. In-depth, well, as in-depth as I can, discussion as well. So I'll talk through what happened on Smackdown. And the downfall of the Universal title after one night. Well, sort of, anyway. See you in a bit. If you like the Wrestling Matters podcast, why not check out their Facebook page at facebook.com/WM podcast and like the page and show your support to the podcast that stands up for professional wrestling, the Wrestling Matters podcast. Wrestling Matters, wrestling fans. Right, ladies and gentlemen, part two of the Wrestling Matters podcast is Raw and Smackdown. Now, I'll talk about Talking Smack in the next part. So stay tuned for that. I'll just keep this for Raw and SmackDown. I'll go through the quick hits and then I'll pick the ones out and everything. Finn Balor relinquishes the WWE Universal Championship. That is due to an injury that he picked up against Seth Rollins. And now he needs surgery and he's going to be out for 6 months at the most. And all led to a fatal 4-way match, or qualifying matches for a fatal 4-way next week, which saw Seth Rollins defeat Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens beating Neville, Big Cass defeating Rusev via counter, and Roman Reigns beating Chris Jericho in the main event. Shining Stars confronted the retiring Dudley Boys, and then the Dudley Boys end up saying goodbye at the expense of the club because the club jumped them and put him through a table. Also, WWE Tag Team Champion, speaking of the club, Big E beats Carl Anderson. Titus O'Neil calls out Darren Young, gets Bob Backlund, then gets Titus O'Neil. And Braun Strowman beats up Johnny Knockout. I'll get to that in a second. I want to talk about that in a second. I'll leave that in a second. And also, Dana Brooke went one-on-one with the debut on the main roster, even it is not technically her debut. It is definitely her debut on Raw, debut on the main roster. It is not a pay-per-view debut. Bayley beat Dana Brooke. Bayley is now a member of the Monday Night Raw crew. Now, for the pickups here, I want to bring up Braun Strowman. Now, it's not necessarily about the development of Braun Strowman that I want to talk about. What I want to talk about is, why does Byron Saxton talk to these poor sods, whether he's backstage or in the ring? You know, whether it's the male or females, the male for Braun Strowman, the females for Nia Jax. Why does he talk to them? Why did they get him to interview these guys or girls before their matches? Does that really need to happen? Really? I mean, nobody wants to see Byron Saxton to begin with, but, you know, does that really need to happen? I mean, they already know they're going to get the butts kicked, but do they need Byron Saxton to, like, rub it in? Doesn't make any sense. And as we all know, ladies and gentlemen, the main event next week is, or this coming week rather, on Raw, tonight as this is going out, which is Roman Reigns, Big Cass, Seth Rollins, and Kevin Owens to face for the right to become the Universal Champion. And no doubt the poor sod who wins that will have to defend it at Clash of the Champions at the end of September. So, Raw is in a bit of a kerfuffle at the moment. Titus O'Neil and Darren Young thing is a pain in the ass, quite frankly. And yet, the Dudleys retired and said goodbye by going through a table at the expense of the club getting heat and whatever. Club beating Kyle Anderson and Luke Gallows. But Bayley is finally on the main roster. And from what it seems, ladies and gentlemen, she is more than likely, possibly, going to be next in line to face Charlotte for the women's title. And no doubt that will probably, unless they pull any strings like they did the first time around with Sasha Banks, that would more than likely be at Clash of the Champions at the end of September. So, yeah, I'm glad Bayley's on Raw. Would I have liked to have been on SmackDown? Yeah, but I'll get to SmackDown later on in a second. But Bayley is next in line to face probably Charlotte for the women's title. Yeah. It is what it is. Bayley is now on Raw. And like I said during the reviews that I've done for NXT and SummerSlam, her match with Asuka was the last chance, or the last time they'll see her in NXT. I wonder if that kid follows her to Raw. Anyway. But, yeah, the main news, Finn Balor relinquished the Universal Championship one night after winning it because of an injury. And it was the power bomb on the turnbuckle bomb that Seth Rollins does, but he did it on the guardrail. And the landing that Balor did on the guardrail when he took the bump, his arm popped out of socket, but then he popped it right back in. And he finished the match, but it got worse. He lived up to his expectations. He became the Universal Champion. Next day, he did his obligations that he had to do and everything, but the thing just got worse, and now he's out for 6 months. So, 6 months at the most. So, yeah. It's a shame, but the question is, will Seth Rollins get the Universal Championship? Probably not, because they're looking to build in a new star now. Fortunately, it would have been Finn Balor, but it's not. So, Kevin Owens, maybe? I'd like to see that. I wouldn't have a problem with that. Big Cass, I would like to see that, but it'll be I think it's too early for him. And Roman Reigns, well, he would probably make the Universal Championship a heel than it already was, because it was the most heel thing coming out of SummerSlam. So you got a heel pop at SummerSlam. So if Roman Reigns ends up winning it, it'll probably be even more of a heel. than it already is. So I would probably say Kevin Owens to win the main event. That would be me on that one. That would be just my opinion on that one. Anywho, that is the end of the Raw. So let's jump over to SmackDown and check out the results on there. See if I can talk about anything on there as well. SmackDown was actually good this week. Very good. I believe SmackDown's getting the benefit of these shows at the moment. That's just my opinion on that. And oh yes, new tag team titles for SmackDown. The SmackDown tag team titles as well. So I'll talk about that as well. I actually forgot about that. Right. Shane McMahon, quick hit. Becky Lynch beats Alexa Bliss. The Usos defeat the Ascension in the SmackDown Tag Team Tournament. Bryan made a match between AJ Styles and Dolph Ziggler with the heated fights that they had before the show started and during the unveiling of the SmackDown Women's title and the Tag Team Championships. Carmella ambushed Nikki Bella's return to SmackDown Live. Heel turn from Carmella. Bray Wyatt began to prey on the Viper. American Alpha defeats Breezango in a SmackDown Tag Team Tournament match. And AJ Styles beats Dolph Ziggler. So, and he goes on to Backlash now to face Dean Ambrose for the WWE World Championship, which is September 11th as well. But, finally, SmackDown now has championships to go with the Intercontinental and the WWE World Championship. The women's title is like the WWE Women's title as well, the SmackDown Women's title. It's like the WWE Women's Championship, except, it's blue. I think they've all got blue straps around the side of it. And there's some blueness to the women's title as well. The tag team titles are like the WWE Tag Team Championships on Raw, except they are silver plates, and they have a blue strap as well. SmackDown. So, yeah. And Becky Lynch was absolutely excited. I mean, I don't know about you, but I like Becky Lynch. I'm beginning to like her a lot, man. She's, there's something about her. She's gorgeous. No question about that. And she can fight, too. But, yeah. Tag team titles. And we've already got two members of, or two tag teams going through. We have American Alpha, who probably would be my pick to win. And we have, not only that, we have, yes, the Usos. WWE, the tag teams answer to John Cena in many people's eyes. But, yeah, at least they've got now a division on SmackDown, despite the fact there's only 7 females on there. And they've got something for the tag teams as well. So, I like that. Hopefully they'll add more people into there. That little thing that I said earlier on, it looks like they're going to be adding a tag team on SmackDown. There's a tag team coming on SmackDown. I'm not going to tell you who it is, but it's from the Attitude Era. Hence the clues. But, yeah, I hope they had tag teams. I hope they had more women's in there as well. There was talk about Melina coming to WWE. Talk about Victoria coming back as well. So hopefully they can add more people to there as well. Because at the moment right now, there is Nikki Bella, Alexa Bliss, Naomi, Natalya, Becky Lynch as well, Carmella, and yes, when she gets off her high horse and from the drug problems and wellness policy bullshit, Eva Marie as well. So at the moment right now, there is 7 females on SmackDown. Hopefully they'll add more of that just to build up a little bit of a division there. There's a little bit of a division there, but they need more people, is what I'm saying. And yeah, in a heated match, AJ Styles goes up against Dean Ambrose, and the rumors were true, ladies and gentlemen. AJ Styles coming off that huge victory at SummerSlam against John Cena in what was probably match of the night. Well, there was no probably about it. It was match of the night, and more likely going to be match of the year, or at least the candidate at least. He is next in line to face Dean Ambrose at Backlash. which would be very, very interesting. So, can AJ Styles be the man? Can he overcome the lunatic, or will the lunatic be the man himself and still be the dude, as he puts it? We shall see. I think there'll be a lot of people, despite the fact that everybody likes Dean Ambrose, I think there'll be a lot of people chanting for AJ Styles a lot more than Dean Ambrose, quite frankly, because AJ is phenomenal. And if you don't believe me, go and watch the SummerSlam match with John Cena. He'll soon put you to rest. All in all, ladies and gentlemen, a very good show on Smackdown this week. As far as Raw goes, I thought it was a little disappointing. And I don't think the fact that Finn had to drop the Universal title helped matters. All in all, it is WWE. It's not long been into this draft brand extension now, so I guess we all know there's possibilities that go well. I still think Raw should be 2 hours, but anyway, that's my opinion. And September 19th, the Cruiserweights are coming to Raw. So hopefully that will elevate and build the Raw brand in that way and take them to a new level as well. But in my opinion, at the moment, SmackDown is winning. Hopefully that will change. And considering what took place on Talking Smack, which I'll talk about right after this time out, all in all, a good show, good Raw, good SmackDown this week. But SmackDown was better. And that about wraps it up for this podcast. Like I said, I'll be back right after this quick time out with Talking Smack and The Miz going off on Daniel Bryan. Because Daniel Bryan was a little bit of a smart ass to The Miz. And boy, he didn't take it too kindly. I'll be back right after this.
There's only one wrestling podcast that gives you honest, uncut opinions and the most unique trivia since WWE did The Weakest Link. And the only place you can hear the show-stealing podcast promo every single week.
Covering WWE, TNA, Ring of Honor, Lucha Underground. Max Wrestling Podcast is the place for you. Join myself, Evan Money McCabe, The Phoenix, and The Butcher. Sundays at 7 p.m. UK time, 2 p.m. Eastern Time with your host, Danny Dangerously, on VOC Nation and the Swerve Talk Network.
Go to maxwrestling.wix.com/maxwrestling or follow us at maxwrestlinguk for more details.
Give in to the madness.
Be sure to listen to the Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast.
What?
Every Sunday with Kenny Killer and the Galdem Sugar Shubs.
Yes! Yes!
With all the news, views, and laughter that you want.
They like jet airplanes. Woo! They like long limousines.
Every Sunday, the Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast on Podomatic, iTunes, and YouTube.
So why don't you choke on that, slap nut?
Welcome back to part 3 of the Wrestling Matters podcast, and now it's time for the main event of this podcast, ladies and gents. The main topic, The Miz. Yeah, I can't believe I just said that in a sentence. Talking Smack this past week, right after Smackdown, he lost it, and it made headlines on YouTube and the internet and everything. He lost it at Daniel Bryan, because Daniel Bryan called him a coward, and he says he wrestles like a coward. So Miz loses it. So what I'm going to do, before I give my opinion on it and what happened and everything, and just shoot, basically, is I'm going to play the audio. I'm trying to trim it down and that. I'm going to play the full audio that I got, and then I'll come back with a bit of an opinion on it. And just to disclaim this, okay, I claim nothing for this audio. I only claim for the podcast, okay? So if you're gonna if there's any people out there that are listening to this podcast, they're gonna bust my balls about this or anything like all that, you know. Oh yeah, I'm this and this and this audio and this. I'm using this audio in fair use to prove a point. Not to prove a point, to make a point, to make a view. And this is going to lead into my opinion, which I'll give after it. So I'm not claiming anything or any money or anything like that for any of this audio, okay? All the audio rights go to WWE, okay? It's a WWE thing and everything like that. I'm just using it to make a point, okay? To make a view, an opinion on it, which I'll do right after the audio. So, just to get that out the way, so any of you morons out there that are probably listening to this, oh, he's making money off this. I'm not. It's the podcast I attempt to make money from. But the audio, I have no claim to it, no right to it, or anything like that. It's all in fair use. It's just a podcast that is mine, that I claim to it because it's my podcast. The audio that I'm using here, in fair use, I'm not claiming anything or any money off it. All the rights go to WWE. I'm just using it to make a point and to make an opinion, which I'll do after it. So here it is, ladies and gentlemen, the audio of The Miz.
There's no gentle way to say it. To me, you wrestle like a coward. You wrestle like somebody who's afraid to get hit. Like
I wrestle like a coward.
You wrestle like a coward.
I'm the one?
If I were to create a wrestler who, to me, like embodies, like when I was an independent guy and I was thinking like, oh, okay, what's the soft WWE style? It would be that. WWE is transformed in the last.
Hold on. You had your chance to talk. You're the one that called me a coward in the wrestling ring. I'm the coward in the wrestling ring.
Yeah.
But let's talk about cowards for 1 second. Okay. The reason I wrestle the way I wrestle is because I can do it day in and day out all the time for 10 plus years. I have never in my career ever have been injured. I don't get injured for 6 months to a year. I am here each and every week. But you sit there and call me a coward? Yeah. I'm the coward. Wait, let me tell you about a coward. Let me tell you about a guy who tells his WWE fans, the people that he loves, that he will be back. He promises them. I promise you, I will be back in 1 year's time to claim this title. But you didn't, Daniel, did you? But I'm the coward. Okay, I'm the one that doesn't love the fans.
If they would let me come back, I would come back.
Oh, if you would?
Yeah.
You would. You love that WWE ring. You love being wrestling. You love being right in that wrestling ring, and you love wrestling, right? Well, why don't you quit? Why don't you quit and go to the bingo halls with your indie friends?
Okay, I think you need to calm.
No,
that's not what this show's about.
The GM have this. Thank you very much, Renee. This is a great show, but we're talking here. I need to talk to you real quick because the fact is, you're the one that calls me the coward, but you're the one that doesn't get in the WWE ring again. No, don't you walk away from me, Daniel. Don't you walk away. I'm the one that loves the fans. I'm the one that loves everyone and everything. You're the one that gets up and walks away every single time. You're the coward. I am not a coward. I am your Intercontinental Champion, and there's a reason I am the title. Reason making this the most relevant, prestigious title that WWE has, and I deserve the respect on Smackdown Live. Get that camera right here. Get that camera right here. Understand that this is day 141 of the never-ending Intercontinental Championship World Tour, and I swear to you, I promise you, it will be the most relevant title on SmackDown Live. I could care less about those little kids on for the tag team titles and the Women's Championship and the WWE Championship. This is my show. My show. And I'm sick of all of you, my GM, sitting there criticizing me, calling me the coward. You're the cowards. I'm the one here day in and day out in that wrestling ring, beating people up. Thank you very much.
There you have it, guys. Right there. Straight and simple, plain as day. Okay? Now, you can't blame The Miz for that because I thought at least Daniel Bryan was a little out of line calling him a coward. But for the first time in God knows how many months, guys, you've got to understand that is the most I've seen come out of The Miz in a while. And you know what? Fair play to him. I mean, Daniel sits there and says, you wrestle like a coward. And Miz brought up some good points, guys. He's brought up some good points. He hasn't, I don't remember the last time he ever took 6 months off. The only time he's ever had time off is if he's going to be in movies. That's the only time he's ever had time off. I don't think he's been injured for 6 months to a year or anything like that because he wrestles the way he does. And what you've got to understand, guys, I've wrestled in a ring, not of a stature of a WWE. I wrestle in a ring. I've wrestled in a ring, and I've competed in it. And even I've learned, somebody my stature, you've got to wrestle smartly in that ring. Yes, Daniel was great. Daniel did what he did. You know, he was a great wrestler and probably one of the greatest wrestlers to ever step foot in the professional wrestling business. I get that. But you've got to understand, guys, if you don't wrestle safely or you don't think about what you're doing in that ring, your career may be over before it even begins. You know, wrestling in a wrestling ring is no joke. And now all you guys probably out there thinking, oh, it's not that bad, you know, this, that, and the other. Get trained up, compete in a match, and then let me know. Because it's no joke, guys. Especially in the ring. You know, you want to do all these fancy, high-flying moves, and then you realize one mistake, it could backfire on you. And it does, and it will, guys. One mistake, it will backfire on you. And that's why Miz went off of the way he did. Because Miz has been able to wrestle for the past 10 years. And I'm not saying this like I'm a Miz fan. I'm not. I'll be straight up with you right now. I'm not the biggest Miz fan in the world. But I have to respect what he said and what he did in this promo. And then he brought up the things of Daniel saying that, you know, he promised the fans that he was going to come back and get the Intercontinental Championship after his injury. You know, after his injury. And then he gets told that he can't wrestle anymore. So basically, he called him out on that, basically saying he broke his promise to the fans. And then he tells him to go back to the bingo halls and everything. I mean, the whole thing was brilliantly done. Well done. People always said, I think, well, Coach brought this up as well. I don't know who it was who brought this up. But everybody said that Maryse had that awkward look on her face, you know, because it was an awkward moment or anything like that. No, she didn't. She was just there supporting her husband. I don't think she had that awkward look on her face, at least I don't. But what you've got to understand, guys, is Miz showed me something in there, showed me that he used to be a former WWE champion. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, he used to be a former WWE champion. You know, he actually showed some balls in that interview, in that promo, rather. You know, he actually stepped up to the plate. You know, I am the Miz. I am a former WWE champion. I am the most must-see guy in the world, in WWE and all that. Not the guy who walks out of Lady Gaga's wardrobe with them outfits. I mean, Jesus Christ, man. But he really showed me something in that promo. You know, what will happen after that promo? What would be the fallout of that? You know, I don't know. If I'm being honest, we'll have to find out this week on Smackdown. You know, I watched Daniel Bryan's weekly interview with the weekly interview Michael Cole does, and he had Daniel Bryan on it. I thought he was going to, you know, come back with something on that, but he didn't. So I guess we'll have to find out this coming Tuesday on SmackDown what happens. The other bit about this promo, guys, is Renee Young trying to calm everything down. You know, Miz putting her in her place, basically. If there's someone on your show, like Miz did there, and he gets called a coward, he said you wrestle like a coward and this, that, and the other, right? And then he goes off on somebody, you let that motherfucker go. I'm sorry. I mean, I don't mean this, and you know, apologies for the language and everything like that, but you let that person go. If someone's shooting on your show, you step back and let him go. Or she go, no matter what it is. Renee Young's there trying to go, oh, this is not what this is all about and everything. Renee, shut up. Okay? The man's got something to say. You obviously had that, you know, okay look on your face when Daniel turned around and called him, said he wrestled like a coward. But then when Miz tries to speak his mind, you know, tries to tell her like it is, you know, and gets, you know, goes off on Daniel, you try to calm him down. Rule number one in life, ladies and gentlemen, if someone's shooting, you know, if someone has to tell it like it is to somebody, you let them do it. You don't step in their way and tell them to calm down or anything like that. Okay? That's what this podcast is all about. If someone comes on this podcast and shoots, you know, and wants to tell it like it is, I'm not going to get in their way. I'm not going to tell them to be quiet or calm them down or anything like that. This is what this podcast is all about. You know, wrestling fans coming on this show from time to time, letting out what they feel about the wrestling business. You know? And if someone comes on and talks about somebody else, like Jezebeth one time with Colleen Masters, you know, I gave Colleen an opportunity to come back on and speak her piece, which she did. And that's what this is all about. You know, I like to think of it as an even playing field. And all right, I haven't reached the full of guests yet, you know, a co-host. I'm a one-man band. People think it's a co-host thing, but it's not. You know, if someone came on this podcast, I'd turn him loose. You want to say something? Let him go. Renee, there's, you know, calm down, this show is all about and everything. Shut up. Crying out loud. Let the man talk. Let the man speak his mind. And like I say, kudos to Miz for what he did. I love Miz for what he did. Okay? I'm not his biggest fan, but that's the best thing I've seen out of Miz in a long time. What will happen? I guess we'll have to check out this coming week on Smackdown. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up for part 3. Hope you guys enjoyed that. And like I say, I claim nothing for the audio, like I've said in that disclaimer. So I'll be back right after this quick timeout with NXT, TNA, Ring of Honor, and that's it, really. See you in a bit.
If you like the Wrestling Matters Podcast, why not follow the Wrestling Matters Podcast now on Twitter @WM Podcast for all professional wrestling news. Wrestling Matters, wrestling fans.
Welcome back to part 4 of the Wrestling Matters Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. And now, normally I do this separately, but you know what? I'm not going to in this round. Now, this week's episode, I'm going to put all 3 of them into one part. We're going to start with NXT. Then we're going to go to the Ring of Honor, and then we're going to go to TNA. So NXT, nothing much happened this week. I saw the show. It was just basically the follow-up from NXT TakeOver. However, there were 2 matches involved on the show. Ty Dillinger beats Wesley Blake. And the Authors of Pain, who are led by Paul Ellering, beat TM61 in the main event. So that wasn't really that much happening this week in terms of that. Next week we will hear from the new champion, Shinsuke Nakamura. So looking forward to that myself, quite frankly, because I want to hear I want to see what's next for Nakamura. And you know what, guys? Let's get right into it. TNA. I'll go to TNA first before I go to the Ring of Honor. TNA, very, very, I don't know what to make of it, quite frankly. A very, very crazy episode. Then again, TNA's been crazy lately, so there's not really much to say on that one. Main event. I'm guessing the main event was headlined. This episode of TNA was headlined by EC3 defeating Drew Galloway to keep him his main event spot for Bound for Glory. And Drew had a bit of a heel turn because he attacked the special guest referee Aaron Rex, which is, to you and I, Damien Sandow. I'm guessing it's going to be Drew Galloway and Aaron Rex at Bound for Glory. So I'm guessing there was a heel turn and everything's going to be set up now for Bound for Glory. DJZ puts Eli Drake in his place. Drew Galloway and EC3 have a summon before their match, a summon hour, whatever it is. Ali defeats Cena, Madison Rain, Jade, and Marty Bell to become the new Knockouts champion. Much to the dismay, I'm guessing, of Maria. And that was booked by Billy Corgan, by the way. Abyss beats Brother Nero. Say no more. And Mike Bennett becomes the number 1 contender for the TNA title and will face Bobby Lashley for the championship. And he also eliminated Moose. And it seems to be the seeds seemed to be planted that there's dissension between Mike Bennett and Moose, because Moose was not happy that he got eliminated and got turned on by his own man. And then Moose walks into Bobby Lashley as Bobby Lashley was about to leave, and I think Bobby Lashley's trying to convince Moose that he's hanging out with a complete douchebag, which, to be fair, he is. So it seems the seeds have been planted that it's the end of Mike Bennett and Moose. But that about wraps it up for TNA and NXT. Now, let's talk about Ring of Honor. Jonathan Gresham went one-on-one with Adam Page, which was basically a squash match, although Jonathan did very well. I've seen the match. He did very well. He took the fight to Adam Page, but I think anybody with a brain knew that Adam Page was going to win. Sukta Jr. from CMLL, that's not easy to say, took on Kamatashi, who's with the Addiction. Now, these two went at it. Great match. Yes, Daniels got involved because Daniels was on ringside. And it took Kamatashi to pull the mask down of Junior and get the roll-up, which was deviously, but, dastardly way, but it was smart because he got the victory out of it. And, Kamatashi, credit to Junior, though. He took it to, not only Kamatashi, he took it to Daniels. He fought like a 2-on-1 match. Incredible moonsault. He had no idea where Kamatashi was on the outside, and he did a moonsault off the top, landed on him. Incredible move. He is one to watch, Sukta Jr. I hope I said that right. And but Kamatashi was going to win. We all know that. The main event was Jay White and Jay Briscoe, and the match was incredible. Back and forth, hard fought, hard hitting. And the Machine Guns came out to support Jay White, and Mark Briscoe was out to support Jay. But the match ended in a draw, quite frankly, because the TV time remaining ran out. So, that was the end of the Ring of Honor. But both men ended up winning the match, quite frankly, because the crowd ended up saying that was wrestling as Ring of Honor went off air. You could hear the crowd chant, that was wrestling. So I think both men won that match, quite frankly. But that was it for Ring of Honor as well. So all of that happened this week. More of that next week. And I'm going to wrap part 4 up here, guys. And I'll be back in part 5 with promotions, little reminders, and the top 10 chances that WWE missed to turn John Cena heel, according to What Culture. So, stay tuned. Be sure to check out the Wrestling Matters channel at www.youtube.com/AJW Wrestling Matters for my exclusive review series that I'm doing on WCPW, What Culture Pro Wrestling, brought to you by the good folks at whatculture.com. Each and every week, I'll be reviewing their shows, whether it's loaded or their big upcoming shows as well, each and every week on their YouTube channel. Be sure to check out the Wrestling Matters channel for review shows each and every week. You can also download them for free on SoundCloud. Wrestling Matters, wrestling fans.
Be sure to listen to the Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast.
What?
Every Sunday with Kenny Killer and the Galdem Sugar Shugs.
Yes! Yes!
With all the news, views, and laughter that you want.
They like jet airplanes. Woo! They like long limousines.
Every Sunday, the Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast on Podomatic, iTunes, and YouTube.
So why don't you choke on that, slap nut?
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the final part of the Wrestling Matters podcast. That's right, ladies and gents. It is now going to be time for the top 10, or my thoughts and views and opinions on the top 10 missed opportunities that WWE had to turn John Cena heel, according to What Culture. But before I do that, ladies and gentlemen, like I've said at the beginning, I'll say it again. You can listen to the Wrestling Matters podcast on youtube.com/AJW Wrestling Matters. Also, soundcloud.com/wrestling_matters_podcast. Also, Spreaker.com. All the links to that will be in the description below. Also, check out the Swerve Talk Network with Max Wrestling, Sunday Segway, Offshoot Radio, and more. And also check me out on there as well. Each and every Monday, 9 o'clock UK time, 4 p.m. Eastern time. Check it out, guys. Show some love. Also, check out, like I said, Mystery Island as well. Facebook.com/Back to the Island. 56 to 58 Birkenhead. Oxton Road in Birkenhead, I should say, sorry. Wes Brisco there, September 3rd. Get yourself over there if you are in the area. And also, guys, if you buy VIP, you get a chance to win some tickets to Wrestle Island in November, which I'm guessing is Mystery Island's first wrestling promotion, or first wrestling show, which should be very interesting. Also, check out Mystery Island's podcast as well on Spreaker.com. Just type in Mystery Island in the search engine. I'll leave a link in the description below. Now, also check out all the other stuff as well that I do. Games Matter channel, youtube.com/Games Matter channel as well. I'm also on there with some games and footages and all that stuff as well, so be sure to check that out. And now, ladies and gents, it is now time for the main event of the evening. Oh, the main event of this podcast, even though the Miz thing was the main event. The last thing on this podcast I'm going to be talking about is 10 biggest WWE missed opportunities to turn John Cena heel. Now, I'm getting quite... I mean, this thing with John Cena turning heel is like CM Punk coming back to WWE. It's getting boring now. But I watched this video and it was very interesting. Number 10 was against Roman Reigns. Now, we all know Roman Reigns was the John Cena 2.0, or he's getting built that way. But what if, ladies and gentlemen, watching this video, of course, what if John Cena, after getting his ass kicked by Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam and losing the Undisputed Championship, and Roman beating Randy Orton that same show, what if John Cena had came out and hated the fact of where Roman was going and started beating them up after that pay-per-view? You know, it's just a thought. Maybe we wouldn't have heard the boos that we do today for Roman Reigns. You know, maybe things could have been a little bit different. You know, it's just a thought. It's just a theory on it. Do I think it would have happened? And do I think it would have worked? Probably not. You know, probably not. I mean, that's back then. You know, people were into Roman Reigns back then, not as much as they are now, because they hate his guts. Because they you know, I don't think the fans realized that he was getting built to be a John Cena 2.0 until now. Now they realize it. So I'll have to say. Number 9 is WrestleMania 29 against The Rock. Now, I would have said the one before, to be honest. Because the one before, when he did that, you know, he was saying, I must beat you, Rock. I must beat you. You know, I must, you know, win this match and everything like that. I have to win. And he didn't. And you could see the seed were planted there for the, you know, when he did the people's elbow thing, but ended up walking into the rock bottom. This, I don't agree with, quite frankly, because this was, you know, WrestleMania 28 against The Rock was once in a lifetime. But like I've said many times on the podcast, and I'd said many times, I believe I had Billy on one point, anybody with a brain could see that wasn't going to that wasn't once in a lifetime. We all knew that was going to happen again. Even I knew it was going to happen again. Oh yeah, Rock comes back after God knows how long out. He faces John Cena at WrestleMania. He beats him. Do you think WWE is going to let that slide? No. They're going to give John Cena an opportunity to get his revenge. And what better way to get his revenge than go to WrestleMania 29 and beat The Rock for the WWE Championship, which he did. Maybe they were waiting for The Rock to turn on. Maybe they were waiting for The Rock to John Cena to hit him with a belt or anything like that, but it didn't happen. So we all know it was going to happen eventually, and we all know what happened. And John Cena got the WWE title and got his revenge. 28, number 8 rather, Embrace the Hate. This was his feud. This was the feud that killed Zack Ryder, quite frankly. The Embrace the Hate, Kane wanted him to be bad. John Cena was like, no. And then the whole feud thing, and then this whole thing made Zack Ryder look bad, quite frankly. And should they have done it here? Turn him heel? No. Quite frankly, because at the end of the day, you could have turned him heel here, but at the end of the day, this whole storyline between the Embrace the Hate, the whole Embrace the Hate thing, it just turned into the point where it made Zack Ryder look like a tool. Not that he needed any help, sorry Zack, but it made him worse than what he was. Let's just say that. Number 7 was Bring Back the Authority. Now, John Cena obviously got rid of the Authority at Survivor Series thanks to Sting, and to be honest with you, the Authority should have stayed away after that, but they didn't because they brought him back, and we all know why they brought him back, because Triple H had faced Sting at WrestleMania. Everybody wanted to see that, yada 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 yada. But John Cena could have run things on Raw to a point, and this is what Culture brought up. He could have run the show himself, be the GM, and then hated the job so much that he had to bring back the Authority. That would have been great. I don't know if it would have worked as good, though, as planned, but it would have worked. I believe it would have worked anyway, but I don't know if it would have worked as planned. They really got him some heat or anything like that, but, is it a missed opportunity? Probably not, but, we never know. But like I said, the Authority should have stayed away after Survivor Series, and we all know why they came back anyway, so let's move on. The next one is number 6, and it's his first title reign. Now, I don't get this. His first title reign. We all know the CM Punk thing, and, the whole him and guy. But his first title reign, John Cena won the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 21 by beating JBL. I don't know how this would have worked out, quite frankly, because at this point, John Cena was over. And he had the matches, he had the great matches with Chris Jericho at SummerSlam, and then the matches we had with Kurt Angle, the series of matches. I think people started to hate him. I think that's what they're going with on this one. People really started, to hate him at that point, really not care about him and all that. And he just embraced it. Not in the way that Kane wanted him to do so, but he embraced the fact that people were hating his guts. So, I don't know. That's a strange one for me, that one. But I could see what Culture were going with on that one. The next one was the double turn with Orton. Now, one of the greatest rivalries of all time was a bragging rights. The match with him and Orton and everything. And I don't know if this would have worked, to be honest. Double turn. I mean, you have to prepare a double turn very well. At this point, anyway. I really don't get this one. I mean, that match, the I Quit match, was brutal itself. But I don't know. You have to prepare a double turn really well. I mean, go back to Stone Cold and Bret in the I Quit match at WrestleMania 13, which ultimately got Stone Cold out there to more people and put him on the map, quite frankly. But I don't get that double turn one. I mean, at the end of the day, I can see where they're going with it, but, you know, you have to prepare that. I mean, that's just my opinion on that, guys. You might have your own opinion on it. You might be able to see that from your perspective and everything, but, you know, it is what it is. The next one is joining the Nexus. Now, we all know that John Cena killed the Nexus. Ultimately killed the Nexus. There's no question about that. You know, and at one point there was an opportunity for him to join, but he didn't do it. And yes, he joined on storyline mode, because basically he became Wade Barrett's bitch. What people wanted him to do was join the Nexus and become Hollywood Hulk Hogan, quite frankly, and lead the Nexus. But it didn't work. As well, and he's made it very clear as well, he killed the Nexus. And it's always been clear, people blaming him for killing the Nexus and killing the momentum. And it's hard not to understand why. The next one is joining the Wyatts. I don't know if this would have made any sense, quite frankly. You know, on the match at WrestleMania and everything. It would have made more sense for Daniel Bryan to do it, but John Cena joining the Wyatts? No. I disagree with it. Like I say, it made more sense for Daniel Bryan to do it at the time in that storyline, but no. The next one was the One Night Stand 2006. Now, how the hell did he not turn heel in this? Because that year, 2006, at WrestleMania, Rob Van Dam won Money in the Bank. He cashed in on John Cena and said, "You're coming to ECW to defend the title at One Night Stand." John Cena he got booed out the building worse than he does now. Nobody liked him. There was even one point that if Cena wins, we riot kind of thing. They hated his guts. And even, you know, someone hates your guts when you try and throw your t-shirt in the crowd and they throw it back at you. For Pete's sake. I mean, for goodness sake, man. If they throw it back at you. And he didn't turn heel in there. But he lost the WWE title, thanks to Edge. And Rob Van Dam ended up winning the title. But I think he probably should have turned heel, at least for that night anyway. Although he felt like a heel anyway. And number one, ladies and gentlemen, is breaking the streak. Now, What Culture covered this, and I'll put the link in the description below. What Culture covered this and how to break this, how they should have broke the streak, the booking thing they do, and how they should have broke the streak. Can you imagine if Cena cheated to beat the streak? Not like Brock Lesnar or anything like that. If he cheated to beat the streak, can you imagine that? That would have worked. That would have been the ultimate heel turn. That would have got him the heat. That would have turned John Cena heel. No question about that. No question about that. That would have done it. Right there and then. You know, how he cheated. And I'll put the link in the description below, guys, in how it, you know, how did they book the streak. I mean, they have done a video on it. I'll put the link in the description below. I'll put it at the top of the description so you can see it for yourselves. So check it out, guys, if you want to know how, you know, it would have been booked. It was great to watch as well. And John Cena breaking the streak or cheating to break the streak would have ultimately worked. There's no question about that. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that about wraps it up for that chart, and that about wraps it up for this episode of the podcast. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. Like, share, subscribe on YouTube for more podcasts. And don't forget to download it for free on SoundCloud. Check it out, all the others as well, on the Swerve Network. My name is Anthony Walker for the Wrestling Matters podcast. I'll be back next week. Whether I have guests or not, I don't know. I'll let you know during the week. Until then, check out my WCPW podcast and CWC. CWC is coming close to an end, and I've got an epic WCPW podcast this week because it's a big show for them. It is stacked this coming week, so check it out. Look out for that. Till next time, my name is Anthony Walker for the Wrestling Matters Podcast. Peace out.
Well, enough is enough, and it's time for a change.
Professional wrestling! This is it! This is us standing up!
Yes! 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 Yes!
That's 13-14!
Cena, I am the best in the world.
Cause that's the bottom line! Cause Stone Cold said so!